I'm fired up. I have a lot of value today, and I think this is gonna help a lot of you guys because a lot of our guys, right? They ask themselves the questions like, "What do I do? What do I do when a woman has a lot of options? What do I do, right, when she's talking to other women, right?" Or maybe they're talking to a woman and it's obvious she has a lot of options, right? And I'm gonna cover into this video, right, the most important thing, right? Because this is a lesson I've learned like recently, right? And you're going to have to internalize this. You have to going to understand this, right? The first thing that you gotta understand, right? And this is the topic of the video today. This is the topic of the video today, right? Never, and I mean never, ever, ever worry about a woman's options. Never. And I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you why, right? Since women optimize for hypergamy, right? When you as a guy have a plan, you have a strategy, how to get a chick, right? How to get a woman on a date, how to get a woman to like you, all of these things. It will be easy. It will be very, very easy, right? But if you don't have no strategy, my G, if you don't have no strategy, you have no plan how to go about your dating, it's gonna be very, very hard for you, my G, to get that woman, even to attract a woman. And that's just the truth of the fact of the matter of fact. So this is even why I have my YouTube channel, so you can actually formalize this strategy, right? And I even have a program where I show you these things step by step, right? But let's just focus on the video right now, right? So since a woman optimizes, right, for hypergamy, she only wants the best option for her. She only wants the best and the strongest option for her. And typically, right, the strongest option for her, right, is the guy who needs added communication the least. It's the guy who needs a relationship with that woman the least. This is oftentimes what would happen, right? Maybe she will go out with this guy on a date, right? He doesn't even feel the need to say goodbye, right? She can't read his interest level, and even in his tone of voice, right? He could compliment her, but she can't even read, does this guy mean it? Does he really like me, right? Does he want to go out with me? This is what gets a woman asking herself all of this question. When you as a guy don't show a lot of interest, when your interest level is like at a 5 or a 6, right, out of 10, this could make a woman go nuts, especially if she's attracted to you, my G. So majority of women, right, you are going to meet, bro, right, will be talking to multiple men simultaneously, my G. This is just how the world is. This is just how it is. So what you gotta understand, right? A lot of guys, what they do when they realize, well, a woman is talking to that guy, they automatically, discard themselves, they remove themselves out of the situation because they think, well, she's talking to other guys, right? And what you gotta understand, this is not how fucking dating works, right? Especially if you want that chick, this is not how dating works, right? What that woman is doing, right, when she's talking to other guys, she is trying to see who's the strongest, who is the business fit for her, right? She's trying to see, right, between, let's say there's 6 guys, imagine, right? Let's say there's 6 Janes, right? She's talking to all 6 Janes simultaneously at the same time, right? There's gonna be one guy. There's gonna be that one guy, right? She's gonna choose, right, who's gonna be the winner. And the other 5 guys, they're gonna be losers. They're literally gonna become irrelevant and non-existent, my G, right? So you don't even have to worry about her other options because she's gonna choose who she likes, right, and select that man and be with that man. So it's either you're a winner or a loser. So that's what you gotta understand. She does have other options, my G, and you gotta be cool with it, right? It's never the guy, right, who does the most for her. It's never the guy who's there for her the most. It's the guy who she likes the bass for whatever reason. It's always the guy, she likes the bass for whatever reason. It could be anything, my G. It could be anything, right? So a lot of guys they think, well, okay, when I'm talking to a woman, right, I'm gonna show her more of my kid, right? I'm gonna text her more. I'm gonna ask her how her day is going. I'm gonna call her, right? And what you gotta understand, all this does is just shows your interest level. It shows your interest level. It shows your attachment level, right? And now the woman, she can feel that need for you to have to things to work out. And this is why a woman loses desire for you. And a lot of guys, because they think this makes logical sense, right? It's gonna work. And what you gotta understand as a guy, right? Typically, what you think, what your logical mind thinks is right, is never gonna make sense in a woman's heart. It's never gonna make sense in a woman's heart, right? So the reason why, right, it's not about what you think is her best option, right? It's about who she thinks is her best option, right? Like, men need to stop caring, right? You need to stop caring, right? About completely stop caring about all outcomes on these dates, going, talking to a woman, right? I'm talking about, getting intimate in the way through, kissing, all of these things. You gotta really stop caring about all outcomes, because you don't need to decide none of these things. All of these things, you don't even need to decide these things, my G, right? Life will just happen. And the reason why I say this, right, because when you as a guy, the more you as a guy trying to micromanage everything, right, micromanage the communication between you and this woman, she's gonna sense that you are putting a lot of effort. You're putting a lot of effort. And what you gotta understand, the guy who satisfies hypergamy, right, that guy, right, he doesn't put a lot of effort. He puts a low effort. Why? Because he can generate other options. He can get other women at or above her level of attraction. So when you as a guy trying to micromanage things, right, and trying to get a certain outcome out of, the relationship, right, and out of the time you are spending together, a woman is gonna sense that effort. She's gonna sense that effort, right, and now you no longer satisfy hypergamy. You know what I'm saying? And this is how you get discarded, disqualified, and replaced, my G. So you could be taller. You could be taller. You could be smaller than the other guy, my G. Right? She may still choose him over you. She may still do it. Why? Because you can logically make sense of a woman's emotions. You just can't, my G. You just can't, right? So by worrying about a woman's options, who is she talking to? Who else is she texting? Who else is she calling? Right? You automatically become not the best option for her. Automatically you fucked up. Automatically you're not the best option. This is what you gotta understand, right? So the guy who's pre-selected, the guy who satisfies hypergamy, the guy who gets women, the guy, who's the man's of mans, right? He wouldn't even care about any outcome. He wouldn't even care about kissing that woman, getting her in a bedroom, right? Because he knows how to generate other options. He probably already has other options, right? He doesn't need to have things work out with that woman. He just truly doesn't care. He doesn't care if she talks to, Pookie, Ray, Jaden. He doesn't care about her other options. He really doesn't care. He could literally place her right now, today, tonight, tomorrow, this weekend. He has that plan. He has that strategy, my G. Right? So her best option in her mind is the guy who's satisfying her emotions. Right? So, who is the guy who's satisfying her emotions? The guy who's satisfying her emotions is the guy who satisfies hypergamy. It's the exact same guy. So, this could be either two things. You could satisfy the guy who satisfies hypergamy. He could be doing it through either two things, my G, right? This could be the guy who she likes, but it seems like he doesn't need or he doesn't want a relationship with her. That's the very first thing that you gotta, that's one thing that the guy does, who satisfies hypergamy. The second thing, right, it will be, right, is the second guy, right, it will be the guy who keeps her emotions in the sweet spot. So what do I mean by this? To a woman, right, the guy who has her emotions in the sweet spot, she'll be looking at that guy and be like, wow, he's so nice. He's a very sweet guy, right? But she cannot gauge his interest level. She doesn't know how interested he is. She doesn't know if he, wants to see her again. There's the second guy who would satisfy her hypergamy. She doesn't know how much interested is he in her, right? So she goes and thinks, right? She thinks, well, maybe he has other options. Maybe he's talking to another woman, right? And this guy, right? He's so nice to her, right? But she cannot gauge his interest level. She cannot gauge how much interest he has in her. Even from when he's talking to her, right? And when he leaves, he's just gone. He's just gone. He doesn't try to set no dates or all these type of stuff, right? What you gotta understand as a guy, right? When you show a lot of desire towards a woman, when you show a lot of interest, and what a lot of guys do, is they will take a woman on a date, right? And things go good, but now they want to take her on the second date. Oh, now they think about the third date, right? Sometimes even in the motherfucking date, they will be thinking about the second date, the third date, to take her on this vacation, to this, event. And what you're gonna understand, this is gonna show a lot of interest to a woman, and now she's gonna know that you're not pre-selected, right? So when you as a guy show a lot of interest to a woman, right? What this does, she goes and thinks, well, why does he even care? Why is he acting like this? And now she starts to question your value. She starts to question your value, right? And discards you, my G. She just discards you. And this is how most guys, right, get replaced, cheated on, or, just ghosted. This is what happens, right? So the reason why you as a guy do not need to worry about a woman's options, right, is because a woman will select and love one guy. So you're gonna love and respect one man out of the rest. Just one guy, right? And it's your job. It's your job to become that guy. It's your job to become the guy, that one guy she loves, my G. That's your job, right? This is why I'm telling you guys, get into my program where I can show you these things step by step. From talking to a woman in the start, right, to even retaining any relationship. This program of mine is great, my G. It's literally, I've put in a lot of work into this. You have to come see this. You have to. Especially if you don't get chicks, my G, you have to DM me on my Instagram. Links in the description. But I'm gonna show you, right? The guy who's her strongest option, right? The guy who she ends up choosing, right, is the guy who has the most emotional strength. So the guy who has the most emotional strength, the most emotional control, that's typically the guy who doesn't need added communication. There's the guy, right, after hitting it, smashing it a few times, right, he doesn't feel the need to text her, ask her how things is going, plan more dates, right? He literally just exists and he just lives life, right? And this is what a lot of women do. Women taste most men like this. If they get attached, if they get emotionally weak after hitting it once or twice, my G. This is how a lot of women taste men. Like after smashing it, is she gonna get hooked? Is she gonna, um, emotionally get weak? Is he gonna get booty whipped? This is how most guys, fail. Is after that intimacy in the bedroom. So this is what I'm telling you guys, right? The guy, right, who satisfies hypergamy, he wouldn't need any added extra communication within in the relationship. He wouldn't be, caring too much to even call her first, text her first. He would just be focusing on his things in his world, right? And what I'm gonna show you, right, is how to be that one guy, right? I'm gonna show you how to be a best option, right? The first thing that you're going to do, right, if you want to be a woman's best option, my G, is you need to be investing, right, and focusing on you. If you want to become a woman's best option, you gotta become your best option, right? So this means you're gonna focus on your purpose, you're gonna focus on your health, you're gonna be focusing on your wealth, you're gonna be focusing on your fitness, your overall look, your smile, my G. You're gonna be focusing on you. You know what I'm saying? So once you got that out of the way, right? You as a guy, right? When you focus on all these things, right? You're gonna feel like you already have everything. You already have everything, and now you don't desire anything. And a woman's gonna feel it. A woman's gonna feel that you don't desire anything, Machi, because you already have everything in your world. You already, have that purpose, right? You're already a king. You know what I'm saying? You're already that guy. And you see yourself as that guy, bro. And she's gonna feel it. She's gonna feel it. She's gonna sense it. The guy, right, who satisfies hypergamy, he wouldn't need to text a woman. Don't text a woman. Don't be texting women. Don't be calling back women, and don't be pursuing women for second dates. That's what you gotta understand, Banji, right? Because as soon as you're gonna do that, there's two things a woman's gonna be thinking about, right? She's not gonna be able to read your interest level. Why? Because you didn't call back, you didn't text back, right? And she's gonna think, well, he must have other options. He must have other options above or at my level of attraction. This is what the woman's gonna be thinking. This the only reason why he doesn't pursue me for the second date, right? Is because he might even have other options, right? The second thing that she's gonna be thinking is that he's probably dating a woman, right, that is harder or better than her, my G. That's the second thing that a woman is gonna be thinking. So now he seems like he's the strongest, right? You seem like you're the most desirable man, right, that she can have. So the advice that I'm trying to give you guys out of this video is to become the most attractive as you can, right? The most attractive as you can as a guy, right? So that her other options, right, can become irrelevant, non-existent, right? Because the reason, right, I'm telling you guys, and the whole point of this video, right, why you should never care or worry about a woman's options is because the guy is truly pre-selected. The guy really gets women. The guy, the alpha, the G, the top G, right? He will never ever ask a woman, who you talking to, what other options do you have, who are you texting, who are you calling. He wouldn't care about any of these things, bro. And you know what I'm saying? If you want to get deeper into these topics and you want to accelerate your dating life, make sure you DM me on Instagram, and I'll see you guys in the next video.